I try to stay as cautiously optimistic as possible when it comes to upcoming AAA video game releases because sometimes they're okay and other times they're complete and utter trash. But whenever Sweet Baby Ink's name is slapped onto something, you know it is going to be a major disaster. And Wolverine is a game that Sweet Baby Ink has tainted in one way or another. And while we're hearing that it is going to be shown off at an upcoming Sony State of Play, gamers are not letting them live down SBI's involvement. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, when we had previously seen some of the leaked images of this game floating across social media, gamers were not happy. As you can see over on the right, that is a character that really looks like a tranny and not a female. And then on the left, you have a lot of mask glitching. And sure, this is like pre-alpha footage, but at the same time, you can tell the types of designs they're going for in this game, and we were not excited to see that. And Insomniac Games has been corrupted for years at this point. They're not a company that really listens to gamers anymore. They just kind of do what they want and say it's going to sell. And look at what happened with Spider-Man 2, for example. They decided to uglify MJ. They decided to take the story in a very different direction. We knew that in that universe they wanted to make Miles Morales the main Spider-Man, and none of those plans really panned out for them. And their upcoming game, Wolverine, has had a lot of negative talk surrounding it because of these images and also because of, yes, Sweet Baby Ink's involvement. You know, whenever they touch a game, the females are going to be ugly, the story is going to be extremely progressive, they're going to be throwing real world political messaging in your face at all chances possible. And this is the reason why Sweet Baby Ink decided to delete their partner pages on their website and really no longer promote the projects they're working on, because they know that every game they touch will be massively boycotted. And while this Wolverine game is still probably a long ways away, as at this point in time we still don't even have a release date for it, we haven't even seen any like official gameplay from it, I just don't think that this is going to be the smashing success that they want. But now we're hearing that it's right about that time where apparently they're going to start showing it off, and wow, gamers are not letting them live this down, which I think is amazing. We are willing to speak up for our hobby, defend our hobby, and fight back against companies that are filled with grifters. These individuals like Caitlin Roper at Collective Shout, and Melissa Tankard-Rice at Collective Shout, and of course Kim Belair at Sweet Baby Ink, and even Anita Sarkeesian going back to Gamergate 1. These people don't give a fuck about video games, and that's why we need to call them out at every opportunity possible, and that's what's happening here. So Culture Crave had posted new trailer for Insomniac's Wolverine game is reportedly ready to release, expected to release before the year's end, likely at PlayStation's next State of Play. There's no confirmation on when that is going to be. The rumors circulating right now is that it's going to be in the last week of September, but we don't really know. We have no confirmation on that. So of course, take it with a grain of salt, but they said, yes, a State of Play event is reportedly being planned towards the end of this month. The Game Awards at the end of the year is another likely option, and boy, oh boy, are they getting wrecked. Insomniac Games, isn't Sweet Baby Ink attached to this? Get ready for it to be made for a modern audience. Yikes. And this was a post SBI made back in 2021. So this game's already been in development for 5 years, right? Because obviously they were working on it before that. So excited and grateful to say we're part of the teams bringing Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine to life with the amazing folks at Insomniac Games. It's been a truly marvelous experience. Yeah, and we see how they fucked up Spider-Man 2. Sweet Baby Ink detected here, folks. Sorry for the bad news. And hey, even though Sweet Baby Ink is attached to a game, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a failure. It's just a 99% likeliness that it's going to be a failure. One of these times, right, they're going to have to be attached to a game that goes over smoothly. And eventually there's going to have to be one diamond in the rough, surely. No thanks, man. Sweet Baby detected. I'm a gamer. or PC or console, mobile, and then everyone's attacking him. More Sweet Baby Ink slop like Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I ain't touching that. Did they fix the Troon face? Allegedly, it features Wolverine. I hope that it has a storyline, and according to reports, you were going to have to play a Jean Grey at some point in the story. We don't know how excessive those segments were going to be, if they were just going to be small snippets. I could see a 10 or 15 minute segment if it's like a 20-hour game being perfectly fine with gamers, but if they force you to play as her for an extended amount of time, it's not really going to make sense given this is a Wolverine game, though we don't have any details on that. But what we do have details on is the fact that the associate narrative director, Mary Kenny, is an absolutely fucking a massive activist because she had attempted to defend Sweet Baby Ink in the past by gaslighting readers. Not shocking, but still pretty disappointing. By the way, this is someone who worked at CD Projekt Red, who's now working at Insomniac, somebody who's got a pretty big position in the gaming industry. But Mary Kenny, an associate narrative director at Insomniac Games, who was working on the upcoming Marvel's Wolverine game, shared a lengthy thread attempting to defend Sweet Baby Ink by refuting their own website in public presentations. She began her 12-post thread by saying, "Some of you don't understand how narrative consulting on games works, but don't worry, I do. Yes, this is about Sweet Baby Ink because I've worked with that team, and they're one of the finest in the biz. Yeah, I guess if your mark for finest is a fucking pile of trash, sure, they're the best." She was responding to a post on social media by saying, "It starts with the dev team has an idea. Maybe they already have an outline of their story and a core gameplay loop. Maybe they've got a whole script and a playable build. Either way, something is missing. Could be a number of things. A character feels underbaked, maybe a whole faction, the backstory of a map has weak sauce world building, and no one on the team has the time to do the research and brainstorming to make it cool. Maybe the dev team has gotten a ton of notes from publishers and execs on things that aren't working in the game. Maybe the notes are all internal. The team knows something is wrong, but not how to identify it or fix it. If you suck at your job that badly, you don't deserve to have that job. You are taking away opportunities from genuinely talented and passionate people in this industry, all because a company wants certain DEI checklist points. That is absolutely insane to admit, oh yeah, these developers don't want to do their job, so they hire somebody else to do it for them. And that's the type of company you want to sit here and defend? That's insanity to me. She then shared, "Wherever you are in development and wherever the notes are coming from, the problem is the same. Something's wrong and the team can't figure out how to fix it yet, and they don't deserve to have the position at the company." The next part is key because some of you get really confused. Narrative consultants do not get final say and they don't override the core dev team and leads. Yes, they do. We have seen Sweet Baby Ink swoop into a game and change things from top to bottom. When a company is hiring a consultation company like SBI, and let's say for argument's sake they pay them $100,000, they're not just going to throw that $100,000 of advice in the fucking trash. Most of the time, they're going to take into consideration those opinions because they believe they hired like narrative leaders, people who actually know how to do their job, but really it's the blind leading the blind. All you are doing is hiring a company that is actively damaging and ruining your game. You'd be better off hiring a gamer you find on Reddit, like we saw with Expedition 33. It was with multiple developers on that project. And then you're actually getting feedback from a real gamer, not people who are so fucking politically blinded that they need to insert their political ideologies and an agenda in every single piece of work they touch. The fact that she went out of her way to defend Sweet Baby in this way proves to me she also doesn't care about the video game industry, and she just cares about propping up this company that she believes is going to do better for the industry, make the industry a nicer, better, safer place, when really Sweet Baby Ink is just actively damaging it. And you're promoting a company that is severely damaging the industry you need to make money from because this is your job. Now, of course, we know everything that she said was a straight up lie. On the About section of their website, when it previously had existed, it said, founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Their outreach section had said, new and marginalized talent can change the industry if given the proper support. We want to provide this through our outreach programs. And even during a presentation at GDC, Kim Belair had said, I once worked on a project where they had an all-white cast where they expressed their desire. Okay, we need to mix it up a bit. How about this character's like stereotypically French? So they have a beret and they have a striped shirt. I was like, okay, if you need to do that, can we at least make them a person of color? And they said, oh no, that would be weird. They're already French. So I want to do better than this. In the same presentation, she admitted the company does indeed work to censor games through sensitivity reading. We need sensitivity readers. We need risk assessment. And these are like, again, important services that I literally like list on every PDF that I send out to be like, hey, I can do risk assessment and sensitivity reading. So these are the types of people that are behind this Wolverine game. And I'm not necessarily saying that, Wolverine has always been the biggest ladies' man out of every single comic book character, right? But he's definitely a character that these people would say embodies toxic masculinity. So I have a feeling they are going to demasculinize him and masculinize females that are actually in this game, maybe like Jean Grey, for example, and it's going to be a big imbalance, and he's probably not going to be as badass as he possibly could be because you have a team of people behind it that do not care about respecting source material and really just giving male comic book fans a video game targeted towards male gamers. They want to, of course, make a game that promotes inclusivity and that, oh my gosh, everyone could want. But we know that when you try to make a product for everyone, you're really making a product that appeals to no one. So definitely stay cautiously optimistic. I get if you're excited for it. I wouldn't get too excited for it though. Just keep your eye out. We'll have to see what happens when the gameplay finally releases. Maybe it will look good. Maybe we'll all be wrong. But as of right now, this is a major Sweet Baby Inc. red flag. And I don't think that this is going to turn out to be a particularly successful title, at least judging by the information we have right now. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.